All right, let's dive right in. Today, we have an absolutely fantastic story for you, an ancient fairy tale from Japan that goes by the name of the Inch-High Samurai. So, picture this, a tiny, stormy island. There's a husband and wife who, for years, have wished for a child. And one day, their wish comes true. They have a beautiful baby boy. He's absolutely perfect. Well, almost. See, there was this one little thing. He was only an inch tall. But did that matter to his parents? Not one bit. They named him Issun-bōshi, which, actually means 1-inch boy. And oh, they loved that little guy with everything they had. So here's where things get kind of interesting. Years go by, and Boshi, well, his mind just takes off. He grows up to be this incredibly smart, adventurous teenager. But his body, it just doesn't. He never grows, not a single inch. Imagine a brilliant teenager's mind and spirit all packed into a body the size of a thumb. And as you can imagine, he was just itching for independence. So one night, his mom's telling him this story, a classic tale about a wandering warrior. And Boshi, he just can't keep it in anymore. He blurts out his biggest dream. Now, his parents, they loved him, right? But this worried them a lot. His mother, super gently, tries to talk him down. "Little Boshi," she says, you're too small for that. It's an impossible dream." They just wanted him to stay on the island, where they could keep him safe. But her words, they didn't work. In fact, it seems like they did the opposite. Something inside him just clicked. And that very night, he decides, I'm going. He puts this really clever plan together. He spells out a goodbye note with tiny grains of rice. For a boat, he grabs a rice bowl. Paddles, a pair of chopsticks. And his weapon, his sword, a single sewing needle. So he pushes off into the water, and let me tell you, the ocean is not a friendly place for a race bowl. It was just chaos. This tiny little boat was getting thrown around by these gigantic waves. I mean, waves so tall, you couldn't even see the tops of them. He's about to give up, just completely exhausted, when he sees something on the horizon, a boat. He gets spotted, rescued, and the next thing he knows, the world has totally changed. He's not in a rocking bowl anymore. He's waking up on a soft feather pillow in this huge, beautiful room filled with sunlight. Turns out, he's landed in the court of a super powerful lord. And as he's looking around this incredible hall, his eyes lock onto two guys, two massive samurai guards decked out in full gleaming armor. And you can just imagine, that dream of his, it just roared back to life, stronger than ever. The lord, though, he's about to send Boshi packing. He agrees with Boshi's parents. It's just impossible. But then someone speaks up. It's the lord's daughter, Akari, and she sees something everyone else missed. She sees how brave he is. And just like that, his whole world changes. He gets to stay. And get this, for the very first time in his life, he has a home where everything is perfectly his size, because he lives in Akari's dollhouse. So at night, he's her fierce protector. And during the day, he's out there training with those two samurai, Jin and Hin, working his tail off. And things are good. Months go by and he's happy. But then, one night. You know that feeling in the air right before a huge thunderstorm? That heavy, electric quiet? It was like that. The moon was hidden and everything just felt wrong. And then, boom, the wall just explodes. A deafening roar echoes through the hall. And standing there, in this smoking hole in the wall, is this monster, a demon, red scales, huge white horns, just terrifying. Jin and Hin, the samurai, they don't hesitate. They charge right in, swords out. But it's no use. Their blades just bounce off the demon's skin like it's made of solid rock. And the demon? It just roars and swings this massive hammer that's crackling with some kind of dark magic. It's over in seconds. The samurai are down. The demon turns and starts reaching for Akari. But then it stops. Because there, standing between it and the princess, is Issun-bōshi. He's climbed up on her bed, his little needle sword pointed right at the monster. And he shouts. The demon just laughs. This deep, booming laugh. It barely even notices the pricks from Boshi's sword. It just scoops him up like you'd flick away a fly, tosses him into its mouth, and gulp. He's gone.
So Akari is watching in horror. She thinks it's all over. But here's the thing. Getting swallowed? That wasn't the end of Bushi's plan. It was the beginning. See, he knew he couldn't get through that tough outer skin. But he was betting that the inside of a demon was a whole different story.
And boy, was he right. All of a sudden, the demon lets out this scream of pure agony. It's grabbing its stomach, thrashing around the room, and then, with one last horrible roar, it just disintegrates. Poof, gone. Nothing left but a big pile of ash.
Akari is stunned. She starts screaming his name, digging through the ashes. She grabs her fan and just starts waving like crazy, trying to clear the smoke and soot. And then she sees him. Right in the middle of it all, coughing his lungs out, is little Bushi. Alive. She runs over to him, so relieved, and that's when she spots it. The demon's hammer. It's still lying on the floor, glowing. And she knows the stories, of course. It's a wishing mallet. And the legend says, if you defeat a demon and take its mallet, you get one wish. Any wish you want.
She looks at Bashi, and she just smiles, knowing exactly what to do. I think we both want the same thing, she says. She picks up that big, heavy mallet, and she taps him gently on the head with it. There's this blinding flash of light, a crackle of magic in the air, and Bashi starts to grow. He stretches and swells until he's standing there, the size of a regular man. And from that moment on, everything was different. Jin and Hin trained him, and he became a real, true samurai. He and Akari got married, and you better believe his parents were there at the wedding, just bursting with pride. And eventually, they had lots of kids of their own. And you know, whenever his kids would tell him their dreams, no matter how crazy or impossible they sounded, Boshi would just smile, and he'd always tell them the same thing. And that, right there, is the story of the Inch-High Samurai.